New man who learned such a thing, cut off his hand to spite his ring. He poisoned the well to spite the frogs, put down his song to spite the dough. He cut out his sleep to spite his dreams, picked all the flowers to spite the bees. He burned his Bible to spite the Lord, took a day off to lick his wounds. I heard him swear life was such a wretched affair. I'm gonna hold my breath. No, 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 I'm gonna stop breathing to spite the air.
Charlie, we can do a radio check. Radio check 1, radio check to 2.
Yeah, copy that.
1 on. Beautiful morning on St. Paul.
Can you believe I'm finally here?
This is one of the most dangerous harbors in the whole Bering Sea. There's been more crab boats crashed on shore and sunk here just because of the big tides and the currents and the heavy winds, and it's a narrow opening. So it's a pretty spectacular place. They spent millions of dollars in 4 years to build this St. Paul Harbor.
When I got hurt playing baseball, I really didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I mean, heck, I hadn't really, outside of working on the farm and playing ball, I'd never really thought about what I was going to do when it all came to an end, and everything comes to an end. And I became a commercial insurance agent. It's just, I mean, 8 to 5 is not for me. And, you know, all I ever wanted to do was hunt and have my own ground like my grandfather did. So we got the first few farms and we scraped up enough money to get a down payment on building the lodge. And it just kind of took off even a lot quicker than we expected, but put it all on the line, and my partners did as well, and now here we are 10 years later. And Habitat Flats is probably one of the premier waterfowl destinations in North America. I'm glad to say now that I do what I love. And, you know, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. I believe duck hunters go through phases. You know, at first it's all about shooting. You just want to shoot and shoot and shoot. And then after that, you want to shoot, but you want to get a limit. And you're going to go out and you're going to hunt, but you're going to come back with a limit however you have to do it. You know, once you work through that, you go into the best stage there is. And that's where the focus is on the experience. You're no longer worried about killing every duck that comes in. You want that duck to be in there, fully decoyed, committed, feet out before you pull that trigger. It's no longer about the kill at that point. It's all about the experience. For those duck hunters, there's no place on earth like St. Paul Island. Hundreds of miles from the coast of Alaska, in the middle of the Bering Sea, this little island offers duck hunters the experience of a lifetime. Battered by the sea and the wind, St. Paul Island is visited each winter by thousands of king eiders as they follow the ice pack south. This remote outpost is the only place in North America where hunters can intercept these incredible birds. Brutal conditions and treacherous seas define this extreme adventure in one of the most intimidating and remote places on Earth. But for those who measure their life by the challenges they have faced and the experiences they have had, St. Paul Island is paradise. I'm Tony Vandemore, and this is my journey to kill a king.
Benelli Presents To Kill a King is brought to you by the Benelli Super Black Eagle III. Dominate the Skies. Heavy Metal by Hevi-Shot. I didn't come this far to miss. And by Under Armour. Go where you don't belong.
This ain't gonna take long, boys. Bang! God, that's pretty. I hear it every day, you know, every day people are like, you're gonna get burnt out on guiding. You're gonna get burnt out on all this, working hard, long hours. I just don't see it happening. I mean, I really don't care who pulls the trigger. I get to pull the trigger my fair share, but just getting to watch this every day, I'm as lucky as anybody on earth. Boss, this ain't gonna take very long, bud. Come on, you have to help. Put this in the bag. All right, thank you. You don't want Daddy to get cold in Alaska. Put the black jacket in the bag. It's really warm. Do you know where Alaska is? listen, I'm gonna be gone for a while. It's not gonna be any fun.
I'm sorry, Dada.
I know, I'm sorry too. Well, this is not normally a time of year that I can get away. I mean, I don't like leaving our business, and it's the holiday season. I definitely don't like being away from family. My wife, who is extremely supportive, it so happens to be our anniversary the night that we're leaving, so thank God she's such a good woman. You know, we're kind of wrapping up our busiest duck season ever here at Habitat Flats, but we still have plenty to do. Not a great time of the year for me to be away, but you only get so many chances to go on a lifetime hunt for a king eider, and I'm not gonna miss it.
Alone, in the middle of the Bering Sea, St. Paul Island is a volcanic landmass totaling just 43 square miles. Dotted with craters and dunes, the low-lying landscape has been tamed by 300,000 years of brutal weather. Persistent winds sculpt the terrain, allowing vegetation to grow just a few inches from the ground. Home to a small native population of Aleuts, the island has one school, one post office, and one store to serve its 400 residents. But it's not the volcanic island that presents the danger here. It is the location. St. Paul Island is completely surrounded by one of the deadliest bodies of water on Earth. Comprised of volcanic rock, dust, and sand, the island is being consumed by the relentless waters of the Bering Sea. Made famous by the cast of Deadliest Catch, the Bering Sea is one of the richest fisheries in the world, and hundreds have died in these waters in search of fortune. It's this thriving aquatic ecosystem that makes St. Paul so unique. The abundant life under the surface of the water provides food for hundreds of species of birds above it. But anything wishing to partake in this bounty must be prepared to face freezing temperatures, turbulent seas, and impossible odds. The ultimate waterfowl destination commands the very best shotgun. 6,000 miles away, Benelli is quietly developing the Super Black Eagle 3 and sending it across the globe to kill a king.
La tensione alla perfezione, nel caso dell'uomo, è sempre trasforma le cose in opere d'arte. La tensione alla perfezione è una ricerca continua a fare in modo che le cose siano fatte veramente per quello a cui sono dedicate. Il fucile è comunque uno strumento ha un uso, se vogliamo, un uso estremo. Allo stesso tempo la sua perfezione lo rende un'opera artistica. Il Black Eagle è già un fucile, se vogliamo, di grandi prestazioni, potente, forse il fucile più potente e preciso, ed ha una durabilità, una forza, no, di durare in qualsiasi condizione. La carcassa di Urbino, il fodero di acciaio sono stati leggermente cambiati e caricati in modo che diventassero tutti un'azione di tipo aggressivo e mirata al risultato. Quindi tutti gli elementi si accoppiano con una tensione e una fluidità insieme. Se si osserva per esempio un'aquila all'attacco, no? si vede come tutte le sue parti, anche separate, gli artigli, le ali, il becco, gli occhi, sono tesi alla cattura, no? E questa è la faccia del Black Eagle. In fondo gli animali sono in questo senso perfetti, noi li ammiriamo per questo, no? Nell'uso del fucile non si deve sentire fatica, perché ogni elemento della fatica corrisponde a un elemento di insicurezza e di imprecisione. Quindi il nostro lavoro è continuamente a perfezionare il prodotto in modo che non diventi mai faticoso per utilizzarlo. E comfort rispetto al viso e al torace. Canna, fodero, carcassa, modalità di innesto del dito sul grilletto, impugnabilità di tutto il discorso. Tutti questi elementi sono gli elementi che danno la qualità a un prodotto continuamente in maniera aggiuntiva, no? L'unica cosa che deve fare in questo caso è superare se stesso, perché il Black Eagle è già un prodotto di grande prestazione, quindi il nuovo deve superare se stesso.
Hey babe, how you doing? Doing fine. We're actually just getting ready. They're loading the little cargo plane now, and we've got about an 800-mile flight out in the middle of the Bering Sea. I don't know for sure. I think the flight's about 3 hours maybe, but it's starting to get dark, so we're not going to be able to see a whole lot. Not much to see besides a lot of water anyway. No, not right now. Lows mid-20s, high around 30, with just moisture in the air and rain or snowing every day. Well, we are just getting ready to get on this plane. All right, baby, I love you. Give that little one a kiss. All right, sounds good. Love you. Bye.
January on the Bering Sea. Pounding surf, salt spray, and volcanic ash that finds its way into everything. It's hardly a place for humans, and it's brutal on shotguns. But even this frigid island can't stop Benelli's new Super Black Eagle 3. Benelli's new Super Black Eagle 3 dominate the skies.
This is pretty awesome. I gotta say, I never imagined I'd be spending New Year's Day in the middle of the Bering Sea. That is badass. Come out of those clouds, can't see anything except snow going past the wings. And you come out of the clouds and see this runway, and it's just a white streak that's lit up. It's just nothing but snow and ice. That is pretty wild. Feels a little cooler than it did in Anchorage.
Here we can.
As hard as this place is to get to, whatever brought you to St. Paul Island in the first place? What makes this so much different than the rest of the islands?
Well, there's basically two things. The major factors here. One, it's the end of their migration down the Bering Sea before they hit the Aleutian Trench, where it goes from 200 feet to 2,000 feet deep. So once the birds hit this, basically this feeding lane or the ledge, they have to stop feeding, and that's when they migrate west over to Russia, because 95% of the king eiders migrate to Russia, across the Bering Sea into Kamchatka and up in the northern Russian areas.
So I mean, you look out and you just see ocean for as far as you can see. What spot are you looking for? What makes you find that one spot where you say, this is where I'm going to hunt today?
Structure. You hunt ducks where they feed, straight up. And whether you're in a cornfield, whether you're in flooded timber, whether you're in a pit blind, whether you're in hunting sea ducks off Chesapeake Bay, the birds want to be where the food is. We have the washing machine is probably the most famous area that we hunt here because it's a big reef. It goes from 85 feet to between 3 to 5 feet deep in a matter of 100 yards. And that's what forms these huge underwater currents and riptides and breaking waves. And a lot of it has to do with structure on the ends of the islands, on the points where the birds, pass by. Basically, the birds on this island, the king eiders, kind of circumnavigate in a counterclockwise motion. I mean, they basically are kind of feeding their way around the island, and basically they just keep working around. And that's why, the big groups of them, they're feeding, and, we just are trying to get to where they want to be. And
I mean, where I come from, we don't have water like this, so I have no idea what to expect. I mean, what are the challenges that we might even see this week? I mean,
the biggest challenge is the weather. St. Paul is known for just horrendous weather in the wintertime. Anytime, you watch a Deadliest Catch TV show, you see them coming into St. Paul with their 100-foot boats, and they're all complaining about the tides and the currents and the waves and the ice. And that's our biggest factor is just, there's a lot of days we can't even launch the boats because it's just, we can't get to the water. There's only 2 boat ramps on the whole island, so we have to make our own. We just have to do what we have to do, launching the boats, carrying them, and you're going to get the full show this week. I can promise you.
This isn't exactly a country club hunt.
This is not a country club hunt. I tell people straight up, and I'm not afraid to say it, there's no whiners allowed. You're going to be cold, you're going to be wet, you're going to get wind in your face, you're going to get rain in your face, and if you can't accept that, then you got no business being out here.
The climate on St. Paul is unique. Subject to frequent unpredictable storms, forecasting weather here is nearly impossible. And in January, the island receives just 5 hours of sunlight each day. In the dead of winter, it is a cold, dark place, which is exceedingly hard on equipment. Residual volcanic dust is extremely abrasive. It irritates the eyes and grinds engines to a halt. Picked up from the Bering Sea, highly corrosive salt spray blows over the island and hangs in the air, rusting everything in its path. For residents here, it's a constant battle to maintain their homes and equipment in an environment perfectly suited for destruction. The same elements that make it difficult to live here make it nearly impossible to hunt. There simply isn't hunting equipment built for this extreme environment. And most of the gear used here is retrofitted from commercial fishermen, rescue vessels, and crab boats. St. Paul Island is not just a test for the waterfowlers who come here. It is the ultimate test for the gear they bring.
Su fino a arrivare saliti piume, se tu li guardi, sai 6,92, cambia poco, più materiale, l'estetica.
Buongiorno a tutti.
Buongiorno.
Sei pronto?
Siamo pronti.
Ciao. Ok, andiamo a cominciare? Dammelo.
Qui ci sono le armi,
Ok.
siamo pronti per fare il test.
Hai provato tutto?
Sì, siamo pronti a partire.
È per finta? È elastici?
Tutto ok. Cartridge.
Sì.
Andiamo a sparare. Repeat with this.
Vai,
Okay.
ci ritocca.
Cartridge. With 3 cartridge.
Vieni qui.
I'm ready. Hevi-Shot.
These guns, in this case, have been frozen for a full night in a climatic chamber, arriving to minus 49 grades centigrades, which correspond to minus 56 grade Fahrenheit, which is one of the strongest temperatures you can get all over the world.
Okay. Ready? Shot. Another one.
Yep. Obviously, Waterfall Hunters world is not a wine cellar. So we have cold, extreme cold, we have humidity, we have salt spray, we have frozen rain. This is why we don't use the wine cellar to test the gun, but the climatic chamber and the ballistic lab. and we ensure that the gun has been completely and fully tested for this kind of extreme use, which is the use that any waterfowl hunters does daily. If is there a place in the world where a hunter may face the strongest and hardest condition, this is probably St. Paul Island in Alaska. There we will have volcanic dust, you have freezing rain, you have ice, cold, and saltwater environment. That's why we asked to our friend of Benelli, USA, to complete our work in the laboratory and to provide and to perform a strong field test with 10 different supervehicle trees.
All shotgun shells are not the same. We hunt every possible day of duck season. But if you hunt like us, or just when you get the chance to go, you depend on your shells to make a difference. We evaluate shotgun shells by studying the technology, testing them on the range, but most importantly, how they perform in the duck blind. We want a shell that will always cycle in our guns and fold with the ducks we shoot.
Everybody happy now.
Hevi-Shot. I didn't come this far to miss.
Ammo, check. Guns, check. Safety gear, check. Fuel, check. Gotta have the safety gear.
Pretty bad medicine right there. They're in trouble with that.
For 700 years, people used lead as projectiles. And the reason they use lead is it's inexpensive, it's plentiful, it's easy to form at low temperatures, and it gives them density. And density is the whole key to making a projectile work. You want something that has mass behind it when it hits a target. In 1991, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service outlawed lead shot for waterfowl hunting. So when ammo manufacturers had to replace lead, they had to look for something that they could afford to use, and they went with steel. Steel is the least expensive alternative to lead. Hunters discovered all of a sudden that they couldn't kill birds. The reason they couldn't kill birds because steel shot went out at 1,250 feet a second, just like lead shot, but it didn't have any energy at 1,250 feet a second. And steel doesn't have the density to kill. So what are your options? You have to find some way to make something effective to replace steel. There aren't many other things you can use. If you look at the periodic table, the things that are as dense as lead, pretty few and far between. There are things like osmium and uranium, but nobody can afford to make a shot shell out of those. Since we're metallurgists, the thing that we saw that had some potential was tungsten, because tungsten is almost twice the density of lead, but you could actually afford to buy it. And that's where we decided we could do something with tungsten if we could just figure out how to process it. So in many ways, this is the biggest breakthrough in shotgun pellets ever, because no one ever made a pellet denser than lead. Tungsten's used primarily for drill steels, forging alloys, and tungsten carbide cutting bits. So the problem with tungsten is it's very hard, and it's very high temperature. It melts at a very high temperature, so it's hard to form. So how do you turn it into a ball that looks like that? How do you do that? That was the problem that we had to solve to get Hevi-Shot underway.
So tungsten alone is too dense to make the proper pellet that we're looking for. We're gonna mix iron and tungsten and nickel together to make the perfect pellet.
So you ask yourself, how hard can it be to make a little ball like this? How to make shot out of material that's twice as dense as lead, but that melts at a very high temperature.
There's 600 volts of electricity coming out of the leads, going through the coil very, very rapidly and returning, and it's heating up the metal to 3,000 degrees.
And then you have to figure out When you have a stream of, you finally get a stream of molten metal in this, how do you turn it into pellets? Because it doesn't want to form balls. It would rather form cornflakes. Hevi-Shot solved that, but it took a year. It took us a year to figure out how to make that little ball. And now we make that little ball 300 pounds an hour every day.
It's a source of pride. I mean, you see our shells out there on the shelves, and you know that we did that. And not a lot of people can say that. The way I look at it, we don't make 24 million shells. We make one shell perfect, and we do it 24 million times.
We set out to create a product that was better than steel, and we ended up creating a product that was even better than lead.
Charlie, we can do a radio check. Radio check 1, radio check to 2.
Yeah, copy that.
1 on. Beautiful morning on St. Paul.
Can you believe I'm finally here?
This is one of the most dangerous harbors in the whole Bering Sea. There's been more crab boats crashed on shore and sunk here just because of the big tides and the currents and the heavy winds, and it's a narrow opening. So it's a pretty spectacular place. They spent millions of dollars in 4 years to build this St. Paul Harbor. Oh yeah, this is nice. This is our sweet spot, if you could call it a sweet spot. Beautiful day in the Bering Sea.
What unbelievably beautiful scenery.
This is as nice as it gets. This is a really nice day.
This is incredible. Okay. That's the first long line I've ever set in my life.
Basically now we're waiting. We got about 10 minutes before shooting time. We're gonna just sit here and drift. We're gonna visualize, see where the birds are, if they're going on the inside of us or they're going on the outside of us. That's what we don't want. That's a juvie. So they're basically a juvie, 2 juvies and 3 hens in there. They're all young birds, 2-year-old, 3-year-old bird.
Man, those are pretty birds. Pretty see that. All right, baby. Woo! In the saddle now. First king eider. Look at how pretty that duck is. That is awesome.
Well, Tony, that was a hell of a shot.
Hey, first one
First
ever.
one, man. We got them circling around us, but we only get 4, so.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Very special moment.
That's a beautiful, beautiful bird you got right there. Nice drake.
I mean, the journey to get here to pull that trigger the first time is incredible in itself, but to actually see it unfold for real, not on TV.
Yeah, 4,000 miles from down in the States.
Oh my God.
So
what
anyway,
a beautiful bird.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next week, the conclusion of Benelli Presents To Kill a King.
Just like most traditional tribes, you know, they don't want to waste anything.
The Russians brought your people here to harvest seals. I mean, for lack of a better term, and no offense, but they were slaves?
Yeah, they were. On a good harvest day, they'd kill 5,000 seals.
Like a lot of people, I lost my job after the recession, and been there working, guide king eider hunts ever since.
Definitely out of my element. This is like completely foreign to me.
Right here, right here.
It's really a shame, you know, the truth is not known.
The weather is a challenge. The 70-mile-an-hour winds for the past 2 days.
27-foot waves?
Yeah.
Wow. This is intense. We're going.
I'm a sea duck hunter at heart, have been since I was young, and this is just it. This is it for me.
Not bad when we're getting wet in the truck.
Yeah.